what am I even doing? What am I doing here? I'm exhausted is not the word. Beat down. But not in a bad way, just a lot of things going on. And more than anything, I, Ken Napzok, am trying to complete the video game Star Wars Jedi: Survivor. And I don't like the game. If you've seen me stream it, which I don't do anymore, do not like the game. Characters are fine. It's a gorgeous game. Story's all right. I can deal with it. It's such a frustrating game. I've lost my voice screaming at it. And I'm dizzy. My ears hurt because I've had headphones on all day playing the goddamn game. And I was like, oh, damn it. Fuck, I need to do a blathering. And I'm bleary-eyed. Video games, I'm all for them. They're one of my favorite things to do to relax. But, those stories of people that die playing video games for 72 straight hours, you read that and you're like, how? I'm recording this. It's 5:49 p.m. in the Pacific here in California, IA. I started playing today at like 2 o'clock. I got back home from the job I'm working, the new one, and I have to kind of finish Survivor for that job as well as just life. And that's only 3.5 hours, and I feel as though I died. And I only stopped because the game froze. And then I went, oh, my hair. The blathering. So here we are, episode 62 of the blathering. One of these days, I'll just have the numbers up, bright lights. So here's what happened this weekend. I was gone for essentially 24 hours. Grace and I packed up the dogs. That was maybe not a good idea. And we headed down to up. I live down Southern California. My parents live Central Coast of California, which that's a lie too. It's weird. California's so huge that there's I grew up in the Central Coast. It's not central. You still have 3 more hours to get to the central part of California. Names are weird. Anyways, who gives a crap? We went up to see my folks. Mother's Day. Putting in the time, making mom happy. And it was a good time, relaxing. Saturday night, we stayed at a hotel. It's just easier to stay at hotels now. And by the way, if you're an adult child, and you're fortunate to still have your parents around and the relationship's functional enough, this is some of the deepest life advice I can give anybody. If you're visiting your home, I'm sorry, you don't have to stay with your parents. Well, we've got the guest room all set up. If you're 23, coming home, great. Winter break from college, of course, stay in your old room. I stayed in the guest room for a very long time. And then it just got to the point, and it's not even them, it's not even me. I just highly suggest you stay in a nearby hotel. It just adds just enough of breathing room for all parties involved so that every interaction is fresh and new and exciting and part of a trip, as opposed to your old dynamics, the old power dynamics back in play. I also recommend this if you have family relatives visiting you. And same thing. I know some of you out there right now are like, but Ken, I have a fourth bedroom. It's the guest bedroom. And we love when mom and dad, Grammy and Grampy, when they come back and we put them in a hotel. Put them in a goddamn hotel. You all with family. What is your obsession with it? We're individuals. We're humans. We're not meant to be in families. That's harsh, I know. Some people don't have families. I should be thankful. But I'm not joking. Stay away from me. You want to come down and visit? There's a travel lodge around the corner. I have a life to live. You have a life to live, parents. I'm intruding on it at this point. I'm 47 years old. I'm not staying in the guest room and using dad's shower. I'm not doing it. I'm going down to the Best Western, kicking up my feet and relaxing, which is what we did. Grace and I had a wonderful dinner with them, ordered in. We can't take the dogs anywhere. And then went back to the hotel. Grace relaxed with a nice long bath. And I did something I've been wanting to do for a while. I laid in one of the two beds we had. More on that maybe in a second. And I pulled out a book that had nothing to do with Star Wars. Love it. Love Star Wars. Did not want to read a Star Wars book. Pulled out the book that is about the year in music, 1971. And I sat there and I just read like 5 chapters. Phone not near me, not checking email. I'm worried about streaming video games, what show I got to record. I just said I read the book. It's great. And in the morning we woke up, checked out, went back to the folks, had a nice lunch, hit the road. 24 hours. Got there about 3:30, left there about 3:30. And you can get a lot done. Last year, Grace and I, our friends Wendy and Dustin, a lot of you might know Wendy Lee from the Collider days and stuff she does out there now. We went up to Lake Arrowhead with them. They have like a cabin situation up there that they have access to, a family house. Families are all right, but the family wasn't there. And we stayed there for almost exactly 24 hours. And you think, well, that's kind of a waste. You're driving 2.5 hours into the mountains. Nah, it's a good 24 hours. You just kind of relax, you turn things off. And I think 1 hour of just turned off, of just life turned off, is worth like 6, the way we all are. I recommend it. Here's what happened. So if you follow me on Twitter, still, if you don't follow me on Twitter, want to, follow me. People are jumping off. But here's the side note. There's nothing to replace Twitter. I'm not happy with Elon Musk's Twitter. I've been happy with Twitter for a while. I think it has a lot more to, goes well beyond Elon Musk, but he hasn't helped the atmosphere. I don't like that Tucker Carlson might have a show on there. I do not want that soul, that evil, broken soul, having that kind of platform. But I know Elon says he might offer Don Lemon a show. Well, equal balance. Who gives a crap? But here's the thing. I've been to all the other sites. Signed up for Hive that weekend. And I thought Hive was going to last a little bit longer. Peach is the one. I signed up for Peach when I was in New Orleans in January 2016, working with Screen Junkies. We were there for Wizard World. And I saw Peach kind of spring up and went, I better sign up for Peach, claim my name, my famous name. Don't want someone squatting on that, selling me my name, because Screen Junkies is going to make me, I'm going to be multi-million follow kind of person here. It did help my following, but yeah, it topped out. And I signed up for Peach. I signed up for Peach like on a Friday night, late in my hotel room, and it was by Monday morning. By the time I got back home, it was done. I think I still have the account on there. I'm yawning while I'm talking. I'm yawning while I'm talking. It's been that kind of day. Anyways, I signed up for Spoutable. I'm on Hive. I'm technically on Mastodon. Here's the thing, folks. We are not here for the social aspect of social media. That's gone. That is the bubble that burst. I don't even know if it's a hot take. I don't think this is a wise, thoughtful, philosophical take either. I just think that bubble burst. Now, I go to social media to promote things. Maybe you don't have anything to promote because you're a normal human. Or I go there to check on the world. I do feel when I'm not on social media, that's how we get our news or updates. I feel a little lost without it. But the social aspect. What did Bob say? Look at Bob and his tweet. Oh, what movie you seeing now, Chet? Oh, let me go to your Facebook post and see it. We don't do that anymore. We don't need that anymore. That's exhausting. Because even if your pal Chet posts, I'm seeing the new Guardians movie, there's going to be some asshole underneath him posting, MCU, or, oh, I didn't like that. I completely misread the movie and formed an opinion based on that, but I'm treating my opinion as fact, and I'm going to put it in your comment section whether you ask for it or not. Chet. Like, there's that shit, and we're just all tired of that. And I think social media has kept me in contact with people that would have lost contact Otherwise, and I think that's still a positive to me. Now, sometimes you can't shake them loose. Maybe that's a problem. Might be a problem for all of you, but like that's, I remember one time in late 80s, my friend's dad from the Navy, their Navy years showed up. And his name was Bob. I made a Bob reference, and his name was Bob. I remember Bob, and I like Bob. I really like Bob. And we went out to pizza, and he gave me a Canadian quarter. I tried putting it in an upright video game machine. Didn't work, but I told all my friends at school on Monday, like, the video game machine, like, started making noises and stuff, and it went crazy because I put a Canadian quarter. They believe me, suckers. But like, this is like late 80s. Like, I was not junior high. This was like sixth grade range. We're talking the 86, 87 range, maybe. And this was like my dad's friend from the Navy. And they had not spoken or seen each other. It was one of those things where, like, he showed up to the door and, like, you didn't know what you were going to get. And Bob had lost some hair. I wasn't, like, overweight or, like, time ravished him kind of vibe. He was just Bob. And my dad was my dad. And they both did oh, you have no hair. Oh, my God, look at it. And like, they're in their late 30s, right? Like, and I think back on that, and I'm like, it must have been felt like centuries that you had not spoken. But my dad got out of the Navy in like 71. It's like a 15-year time period. I have friends that I consider new friends that I've known for 17 years in Los Angeles. Even some friends that I met 25 years ago in Los Angeles it seems like yesterday. And part of the reason that happens is I'm still in regular contact with them. So I like that aspect of the social media, but I think we're exhausted of the rest of it. I don't need Spoutable, which I'm on. Follow me on Spoutable. I don't tweet there. You spout. I don't need my friends on. I don't need to talk to anyone. I don't need to see anyone. I just need to promote stuff. So Spoutable is going to be where we all promote stuff. I'll have to camp on my name and use it. But it's not going to happen. Twitter's too big. Are they too big to fail? No, absolutely not. MySpace was big at one point. Facebook, big. But here's the thing. Facebook's, you ever gone to Facebook recently? You might not use it because you're not a, alt-righter. But it's still active. People are on there. It didn't go away. It's not like Friendster, which became, this sounds like a bad joke. It became like a Korean-dominated music kind of thing. Like Friendster didn't suddenly say like we're a music station, which MySpace kind of did. MySpace after a while was like, hey, we help break musical artists and comics. We're MySpace music now. Friendster remained Friendster, but it was I think it was that. It might have been Korea, it might have been the Philippines as well. I just remember that you went on and it was like a thing. It was like, no, this is Friendster's market. And the Friendster just kind of went and did what Friendster did from that point on. Facebook isn't that. Facebook isn't niche. It's still the thing. Instagram, believe it or not, still kind of new for Instagram's been around since like 2010. Still run into people who are like, I haven't given it a try. So all that's not going away. It could be, again, it could be destroyed. Of course it could be destroyed. Of course Elon could bankrupt it, and Twitter could become, Twit machine or something. But Spoutable and Hive and Mastodon are not going to replace it. All that to say, that was a tangent to say, if you want, follow me on Twitter. But if you, that was a weird one. Holy crap. I don't feel good today. I have a headache for this stupid video game. Man. And I think I had too much sugar. Maybe the sugar's to blame. If you follow me still on Twitter, Saturday night, my time, West Coast time, dinner time. I'm not going to suppress this yawn. I'm yawning not because this episode's boring me or you in the audience are boring me. I'm yawning because I've been holding my breath in this entire 3-hour time period I've been playing video games, and my brain's like, oh, we're living again. I think that's how you die. If you follow me on social media, just on Twitter, Saturday night, suddenly, again, I don't tweet much. Occasionally, I'll tweet a joke, right? Usually it's just promotion, retweets. Occasionally, I'll have a thought and I'll tweet it out there and it gets 13 likes or something like that. I tweeted my Twitter page tweeted out progress for my fitness app, which I do have on my phone here. Bring it up here. It's a good little. I think it's the in-house fitness app. I don't know. I haven't done anything today, but there you go. If you're watching a video, you see the little green version of me is like walking. There's a share button. And wow. So crazy. Anyways, I tweeted out an update from this app. Tweeted it out, which is great. Except for I didn't do that. And people thought it was hacked, or people had, pithy little funny jokes about, because it had like no steps on it. It was like I was updating you on, here I sat for an hour. I get it. Make your jokes. But this is the true story. I tweeted out a follow-up, and it was true. I hope this isn't a you had to be there story. Because there's 16 minutes in, and I want to give you gold. So my mom has 4 dogs. She's a great dog owner, great animal lover. Has 2 cats as well. 2 like kings, like Max and Allie are the last 2 cats of what are they? A litter, a little pack. I don't know. Mom was a stray. The mom kitty was a stray, and my mom took in. That's what she does, and just fed her from the back porch. Right? You got to be careful. I always say, don't feed the cats on the back porch who come around. Next, one day my mom's like, yeah, the cat didn't leave, and it was pregnant. So the 2 cats, the kittens, are now like 15 and 14, and beautiful cats. I forget what they're called, but they look like they're lions from Narnia. And they got the 2 kitties, and she's got 4 dogs, and they're all of the tinier variety. Some mixes, some mutts, cute dogs. She does have a new rescued Chihuahua. She tried to foster a Chihuahua, as predicted. 13-year-old Chihuahua with major health problems, stranded, left for dead on the streets. Foster people, the rescue organization took it in. My mom fostered her, and within 2 days, she was trying to adopt the dog, and she did. And I'm glad for that, because this dog's got a great life right now. Mom's got 4 dogs. Willow, Bo, a.k.a. Bobo, Zoe, and now Bambi, the Chihuahua. You can't, owners imprint a little bit on their dogs, sometimes a lot on their dogs. The old thing of, the dogs look like you or they act like you. I've seen that. I've seen it. I get it. If you're neurotic, they're neurotic. If you have anxieties, they might have anxieties. Totally get it. Dogs are in tune. That's why I love them. But I also think it's not completely fair to pin it all on the owners. No one could have predicted when my mom got the first 3 dogs out of this batch, and we've had dogs our whole life, that how just manic, crazy, and I can't even describe it as barking. It's shrieking. And now you got the new dog, Bambi. It doesn't bark. A lot of trauma, a lot of problems with her jaw, mouth, teeth, all those kind of things, all surgeries to fix it. Dog's doing good. Thank God this dog doesn't bark. But the other 3 dogs, they're not. It's a shrill, high-pitched. The neighbors have to hate my parents. And I'm not talking about the one to the left. My mom and dad are kind of friendly with. I've talked about the little neighborhood. This little stretch that they live. It's like split level, a street, row of houses, alley, kind of a street, and more houses, kind of on the side of a hill. Every one of those people have got to hate my parents. I'm telling you. You hear that dog, those dogs barking miles away, and they bark constantly. They shriek constantly. And I love them. They're sweet. But it's insane. It's chaotic. And again, there's some things I think maybe, again, my mom's a good dog owner. I'd say great dog owner. But what do you do? This is the bark. Willow started barking. The first time she started barking, it was like, the hell is this? We bring Baxter and Francis up there. Baxter's been up there before. They watched him at one point. Baxter's blind now. It's a different situation. Francis is a different situation altogether. So we had 6 chaotic, tiny, shrieking dogs. again. Hotel. Baxter and Francis stayed with us in the hotel because it's dog friendly. And even that, they were kind of barky, but I apologize to everyone in the hotel. But what are you going to do? So we had these 6 dogs, and we finally sit down, get some dinner ready, ordered in some Thai food. They have like a nook, not a table. They don't have a dinner table. My parents have a nook. It's sizable, but it's a nook, which means only one way in and out. One way out. One way out. I know this is you have to be their story, but support me on this journey. Because if you don't like this story, I'll go back to making silly voices and no one like that shit. So, here's what you got. We sit down. Francis is up on my lap. Baxter's in like this little baby Bjorn thing that Grace got to kind of make it just convenient to be hands-free while she holds this blind 17-year-old Chihuahua who's got a lot of life in him. One of my mom's dogs is, he's very, again, sweet, but I don't know. He's king of the castle. He's the male dog in my mom's pack. King of the castle. King of the castle. So we're sitting there. Food's being put on the table. We're getting ready to eat. Dogs are barking. I don't even want to try. I can't even try to capture the sound. Excuse me. Little Bobo, jumps up on the bench because it's a nook. There's 2 benches and a table, right? Big giant window overlooking a beautiful view of the Central Coast. You can see the ocean, bird bath. Parents have an immaculate front yard. No grass. They took out the grass. It's a responsible front yard. All of a sudden, Bobo, little Bo, leaps over Grace, who's got Baxter. Baxter's blind. He's cantankerous because of that. He's a little scared and skittish because of that. He'll nip. But he's a sweetheart. He's still our little backseat boy. But he's blind. He don't know nothing. But he's like a Jedi. He senses things. So little Bobo, little like terrier kind of little, got the mutton chop kind of face. Cute little dog. But he was feeling it. He was chuffed. So he kind of leaps over Grace. There's a little doggy. Now, to be fair to Bobo, there was a doggy bed on the other side of Grace that was his. So he's like, hey, you all having dinner? I'm going to go to the doggy bed. Beg for food from that safe, warm, comfortable spot. So he leaps over. Baxter, like a Jedi, or more like a Sith, blind as a bat, senses it, reaches out, and bites Bo. Baxter has like 10 teeth left. We had like 20 teeth removed from him about a year and a half ago. But he's got the important ones. Takes a giant bite and doesn't let go. Baxter was not like, I'm warning you. Baxter was like, got you, sucker. Grabs, thank God, mostly fur, because Bo's got a lot of fur, a lot of flowing fur coming off of Bo. If he was like a dachshund or short-haired Chihuahua, it would have been meat. It would have been a meat bite, but it was mostly hair, thank God. Baxter does not let go. He's like, gotcha, fuckstick. Bites on. Bo, in his own house, feeling chuffed, feeling like he owns the place, is suddenly like, I don't own the place. Oh, crap. Pisses everywhere. A good old-fashioned dog whistle. Over the table. Thank God not on any of the food, really, but all over the table. All over Grace. He's yelping, which causes the other dogs of my mother to shriek and yelp, which causes Francis to be like, I want in. Who am I fighting? Which causes my mom to scream, which causes my dad to laugh, causes me to laugh, and causes Grace to scream in horror because she's now being pissed on by this dog. But at the same time, through all this, Baxter's not letting go. Ain't letting go. Nope, not doing it. So now as this dog's peeing everywhere, like a water hose that you turn on and you forget that you left the little handle nozzle on your spray, and you're watering you're going to water the lawn, and you turn on the hose and like, oh crap, the fire hose is loose. This dog's peeing everywhere, and Grace has to like grab the peeing dog, pry open Baxter's mouth, and do this while the dog's shrieking, while Franny's in the middle of this. So we settle everyone down. Everyone's like, oh my God, Grace is covered in dog pee. The table's covered. That we're about to thank you, Lord Jesus. We're about to give you thanks for this bountiful meal. All on this table. Dogs peed all over it. Every dog is having a psychotic breakdown, as is my mother. And quite frankly, as is Grace. She's shocked because it was violent. It's like when I always say in my old line of work, like I'd go, about once a week, we might get into a fight with someone. It was just part of my existence. If people see that for the first time, you see like a loss prevention agent trying to wrestle a suspect. It's violent. And I've seen people get their knees start knocking, and the pit of their stomach drops out because it's violence. It was violence. It was dog-on-dog violence, and Grace was shocked, traumatized. In the middle of all that, we settle everything down. We're cleaning I look down. I'm getting all these notifications on my Twitter phone. My phone from Twitter. Hey, my Twitter phone. And that's what had happened. Somehow, in that chaotic moment where the phone's in my pocket, my phone opened up in my pocket again, slid itself open, typed in the code, or just was open, went over, found the fitness app, pressed the share button, pressed, as I'm looking now, the get started button, selected Twitter, and put the information on my profile. All of that happened in my pocket while dog violence was happening. I can't do that on my own right now when I want to. And I'm not doing a hacky stand-up joke. I'm right now like, okay, share activity. I'm reading it. Let's get started. What do I do? Where do I share it? I don't know. My phone did this, and it's in my fucking pocket. In my fucking pocket. And so I tweeted that out. Some people text me. Mark Ellis shared the tweet. Not going to brag. He called it like tweet of the year or tweet of the day, tweet of the hour. I can't remember. But that's what happened. And I just, I had some people like, hey, are you hacked? Thanks for the concern. I'm not giving away PlayStations. No, I wasn't hacked. We were pissed on. That's what happened. And that's the story. All right. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. All right. I'm back. Hey, started working. I started working. Thanks for those who sent me kind words after I talked about taking the leap forward, cranking up the heat, and committing to working a part-time job, and it's going pretty good. It's interesting. I'm kind of in a writing, not even producing, writing, consulting kind of limbo. But it's good, man, and the people are good, and it's been fun. Today I left the office. I will forever want to work at home, forever want to record out of my home studio, but I left. I got out in the sun today in my car. Honey, I'm going to the office, and I was over there for a few hours doing some read-throughs, some script punch-ups, and having some fun. So we'll see. I haven't really unveiled where, I don't think. Not that it needs to be a secret. I just, you'll see if I pop up on it, you'll see. If not, you don't need to know. You just need to know I'm going to the office, I'm doing some work. And it feels good. It feels good. It's that reminder again. I've touched upon it in more deeper, poignant ways, but sometimes that little thing you fear or that little thing that's holding you back, it's silly and it's pointless. Once you push through, you find that you're okay. You find that you have the time you need, or this is the thing you need, whether you thought or not. So I don't have any deep thoughts on there. And I could end this show right now, right here. I got nothing else to add. The world still on fire, right? There's the blathering. There's this part of the blathering of my soul that I really do want to come onto this podcast and just rip into the world. But I think I'm going to save that energy for when it's needed. You know what I mean? And we talked about that last time out. I talked about the shooting and all that stuff. Like, yeah, we're still in the same boat. Some progress in some areas. Every time I look at the governor of Florida, I get angry and shake my head. But I'm definitely in a mood right now of maybe it's because it's the beginning of summer. I'm in it's not even quite survival. I just think it's okay right now to not put your head in the sand and not pay attention, but just do a little duck and cover right now. That's something that I think my generation grew up with, and the generations before me a little bit there. The younger of the baby boomer side, right? We grew up with the get under the desk and get ready for the nuclear explosion, and hopefully this desk will keep you safe. So duck and cover. That's where I'm at in life. I'm under this table that normally just has my pencils and my erasers, a little note that I'm going to give that girl I have a crush on. If I can work up the nerve, it's all there. And some gum probably chewed and stuck in there. I didn't do that. I was a good little boy. I didn't litter. I still don't like to litter, even accidentally. I'll chase a receipt flapping through a parking lot like a dick at a strip club show, and I'll chase that receipt. I'll find it. I don't want anyone to have to worry about that. I'm the guy. I go to the grocery store. I look for a parking spot that's close to the cart return, but even if I'm not, I'm going the extra mile. To put the cart back in. Giggity. Now you don't want to go too far with that, right? You don't want to go too far with that. There's overhelping. I'll take the cart back. I'll slide it in there. Giggity. And sometimes if there's like 3 or 4 carts, I'll put all the carts in together. But you don't want to do too much. It might, I don't know, maybe if you're listening out there, maybe you had a cart collecting job and maybe you're like, no, I'm glad, do all my work, dick. I want to go home faster. Maybe you wouldn't call me that if I was helping you out, but I like doing that. I like putting, 3 in, because I think if you put too much, I might impinge on your methods, your techniques as an employee. That's at least what I would think, right? Like, going back to the security industry, like, don't get involved. We don't need your help. We're going to do this our company way. We're going to, in fact, I got a really concrete example of why none of you out there should help security professionals unless it's life or death, unless it's bona fide, absolutely life and death, then maybe help. Same with police or fire. Back in 99, there was a large fight between some rival members of gang organizations, is what we'll say. All facts. And they got into a fight in the second level of the mall. And it was a bad fight, and it was kind of a crowded, maybe a Friday night type of situation. So a lot of people watching, a lot of looky-loos. And, 4:15 Frank call goes out. Now I'll point out I was like not there for this. I think I was working different shift, whatever that story is. I have the video. I still have the VHS tape. If y'all want to see it, I'll find a way to burn that. And how do you transfer VHS to digital these days? That's a step. I don't have those courts. Big fight. Security guards, staff, people I worked with, are running to the fight. And like I've said before, in a more serious way about police work or law enforcement work or public safety work, that's fun. Call for a 4:15 Frank and zone 3 upper goes out, you're running. Even if you're not supposed to. There's sometimes like, hey, unless we say everyone go, don't go, because we need to make sure other parts of the mall are okay. Or the other parts of the city. But trust me, police officers, they hear a pursuit. They need like 6 cars on that pursuit. there's 17 police cars trailing that, and like 11 aren't supposed to be there. Happens all the time because it's fun, and you have to understand that and acknowledge it to maybe help make some of the situations and helps better law enforcement. That's a theory I have. But anyways, security guards are running. They're running to this fight. It is a bad one. Mannequins. I remember a mannequin being tossed at someone. It was bad. Looky-loos. There's like a 10 or 11-year-old kid. He's doing the looky-loo thing. Mom's kind of in one of, like, she's in a Miller's Outpost was still at the mall at this time. And I'm not joking about that. I think it was a Miller's Outpost, and she was in there. Someone was trying to help us, an employee of the mall. I think a jewelry store employee, someone who was like, ooh, what's going on? I'll help you guys. I'll get involved. And they went running towards the fight. And in the process, knocked this kid the fuck out. Like, we're talking accidental elbow to the head of this kid who did not know, who was just looking at the fight. Mom's not around to keep him safe or pull him away. He's just, ooh, what's going on? Here's a commotion, literally rubbernecking, looking around, kind of, goes to like turn around and leave. Jewelry store employee, boom, accidentally elbow, and completely accidental. Elbows the kid, knocks the kid. The kid goes down like a bowling pin. Boom, right there. It's grainy now. The VHS tape's probably degraded, but I mean, it's great video footage. Sorry, kid. He's now in his 30s, probably. He drops, gets up. Of course, you hear, there's no sound on these camera footage, but you hear everyone around go, ooh. Kid pops back up, and I'm talking as if Tyson had punched him, does this weeble wobble, hits the wall of a store and just slides down, like with Tweety birds around his face. I'm laughing. Poor kid. He's like 10 or 11. And shgunk. And the mom comes out at this time. Somehow someone knew it or said, "Hey, kid is down." She comes out. She's got 3 bags of shopping. God bless her. Cast your dollar vote. She comes out with a Miller's Outpost bag, probably buying a acid wash blue jean jacket and the jeans to match. And she's livid, of course. Now, you could say, where were you holding on to your kid? But the kid wasn't 4. He was 10 or 11 or 12 maybe even, He's probably bored as hell. Mom's, buying, jean jackets again. And, I love my jean jackets. And so she's livid, and she's immediately, and then by the way, I'm not there that night, but we're still dealing with this massive fight, trying to take people into custody, waiting for the police to show up. They're rolling code 3 over from Devonshire, and she starts screaming at our guys. Again, I understand. But the problem was she thought it was us. It wasn't us. It was this guy from a jewelry store. Some dude who probably works the weekends trying to get you to buy K Jewelers or Kevin Jewelers or any of those kind of mall, Benbridge Jewelers, name it. He was working it. Probably does bumps of coke in his car on his break. Just wanted part of the action. Didn't like his life selling jewelry on a Friday night in the mall. There's a fight going on. Might have been friendly with some of the security guys. Sees it, chases after him. Absolutely clotheslines this poor kid and sends him to Kingdom Come. So when it all got sorted out, and also at the time, we are running to the fight, and we could have been us. We didn't know. But once we reviewed the tape, they figured out, I think I don't know if there was a lawsuit, but there was something going on, filed a claim, all that liability report, blah, 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 blah. But don't help. That's what I'm saying. And all that, I got all that from, I think, if you're at a grocery store or in a parking lot, stack no more than 2 or 3 grocery carts together. That's what I think. And where was I going with all that? That's the first genuine lost thread. And I'm not, unless it pops in my head, I'm not going to try to find it because I'm trying to get time to do the Patreon only show Lost Threads, but I feel as though since I've started doing this show publicly now a couple months, I think I've been better. I don't lose the threads as much. I lost the fucking thread there. Is that the Paul Thomas Anderson movie? The Lost Thread or The Last Thread? Thread and Needle. What was that one? With Daniel Day-Lewis. I like him. Last Mohican's one of my favorite movies. He's got to be a little nutty to work with. Only answers to his character name. Became like the third best musket firer in the world when he was shooting Last Mohicans. Admire him, but I'm glad I'm not a world-class actor having to work with him. So there you go. What was that thread? I was in the parking lot. I cleaned things up. I'm a good kid. Next thing you know, the security story. I really wish, one of these days I'm just going to go full bore. Full bore. What I'll have to do is I'll have to dig up the greatest hits of the security tape, which, by the way, I shouldn't have. The people that I worked with, we shouldn't have the tapes. It's not impossible to do it now, but the digital systems make it a little easier to trace. But in the late 90s and early 2000s, our security systems were on VHS tapes. And every 8 hours, we had what was called the tape change. Capital T, capital C. And it sometimes took up to 2 people. Used to have dedicated camera room people, then eventually they cut that position because why keep people safe? Management did. But you would have to change over 85 VHS tapes. You would eject the tape. The tapes were all labeled by days and cameras and hours. You'd eject that tape. You put it in these big racks. Remember racks? We'd put things in like DVDs and VHS tapes and CDs. We'd put them in the racks, and you take all the new ones out one at a time. This happened 3 times a day. It took a lot of it. In that process, there was always, compilation tapes made. Sneaky little bastards who worked there. And some of the greatest hits, fights, sex in the parking lots, all that kind of stuff would find its way onto a videotape, and they might have got passed out to the staff. Do I think this is right? No, I don't think it's right. If you went to the mall at 2 a.m. to step out on your partner and have some hot sex in a Suburban next to the fading lights of a claim jumper, do I feel as though it's right that a bunch of the security team copied some of that footage? By the way, you couldn't see much. Just a leg sitting out the side of the Suburban window, and the moonlit hump of the gentleman doing the pushing. Like, is that right that we had footage of that? No. But do we? Yeah, we did. And that's where a lot of my early memories, when I tell some security stories, sometimes the more vibrant ones are the ones that I had on tape. And it wasn't all sex ones. It was crazy fights, encounters. We had one footage, and it wasn't like you went to a buffet and you went to some guy, one of your coworkers, and been like, "Hey, I'd like a tape, man. Could you put like 5 fights on it, 3 sexcapades, and a drug use?" No, it's just suddenly a tape would emerge. Hey, Aaron put one together. Anyone want the latest, right? And you didn't know what was on there. And there was one, I wouldn't normally want this, but I have video footage of a guy shooting heroin into his eyeball in a mall parking lot. If I could find it, I'll sell it to you all right? I'll blur the guy's face out. But I saw that. I saw it on tape. He got arrested because we were watching him. You do that in the comfort of your own home, my friend. It's still in my brain. One of these days, I'm just going to pull those tapes out. I'll find them. I don't have a working VHS player anymore. I did as of like 2 years ago, and then finally it gave up the ghost. But I think I'll just go through the tape. I don't think you guys should see it, but I'll just tell more stories. I'll just tell more of the stories. And again, do I think morally it's right for us to have that? No, I don't. But here's the one thing. This is the weirdest episode yet. Hopefully this week you didn't come for some profound insights of life. I I'm just going to tell this one of the stories. Here's what I feel. I'm not saying people in the security industry, in mall securities or retail securities, I'm not saying they're all nice folks. I'm not saying they're all top of the shelf. I think you should raise the pay and the standards of that job because it requires it. Most major companies just view it as it's an insurance check box, like, hey, if we get sued, we had security. What do you want from us? That's really why security teams are there. They're not necessarily to keep you safe. And over the years, it's just gotten more hands off. And I agree. I understand. I've had to change of heart of how to approach law enforcement. And I was pretty good at, not being an asshole, but also sometimes I was and part of things. But here's the one thing I'll say. Big issues aside. People treat security guards like fucking shit, right? Like dog shit. They treat them horribly. And again, maybe sometimes they deserve it. But here's the thing. It's different than, say, like, you don't like cops. Or maybe, I think most people like firefighters, but maybe, I don't know. You don't go up to an EMT and call, hey, oinker. Like, you don't do that. People obviously don't like police. I get it. I would go to lunch with the police officers that worked in the substation when I was a day watch supervisor. We'd go up to the mall food court and grab a lunch, which they were entitled to do. The amount of people, every goddamn time someone would get in their face and tell them, why are you taking a lunch, you lazy assholes? Go fight crime. I'm paying your salary. You don't deserve to eat on my time. It happened almost every time. So when I talk about police officers having hardened hearts to the public that they're supposed to protect and serve, that's kind of some of the stuff I'm talking about. But anytime you take a stroll in the mall, people are just going to treat security guards like shit. They're beneath you. They're jokes. You failed. The amount of times I had people get upset at me and I'm trying to help them and something goes wrong. Maybe we're kind of arguing in my office or something like that. Like, lady, we can't find. We're going to try to find your car, but we don't know where it's parked. Oh, you failure. You failed. How do you feel? One lady said to me, how do you feel about the job you have? You failure at life. It's a quote to my face. We get your hearts hardened. So I'm not saying two wrongs justify make it a right, or that your treatment of me deserves a bad treatment back to you from me. No, I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying this is morally right. But the fact that a lot of you are caught on tape doing embarrassing things and some security guards have footage of them, I'm saying it's not even, it's not right, but it happens. Maybe we'd be less inclined to hate you all if you didn't yell at us and call us names every time I'm walking in a mall. So glad I don't have that job anymore. Here's the final story I'll tell you. I saw someone get their first hand job. It was two young lovers at a car outside of Pacific Theaters. You could tell. Of age. By the way, before you all think we're horribly crazy, disgusting a-holes, you could think that. But there was an onus on us to see if, what's going on in the cars in the parking lot, because bad things do happen. I've had rapes, sexual assaults, sexual harassment, physical assault, all those kind of things are going on. So we were trained, this is from when I started the job to when I left it. If you saw some folks sitting in a car, keep eyes on them. Maybe pass by a couple of times. There's that fine line between, hey, you don't want to harass people, but also is everything okay? And this is where the public safety line is it's hard. It's a thin line. I don't mean like a thin blue line, but it's a, so because sometimes bad things would happen, and when bad things happen, the folks affected by it will turn to us and be like, why didn't you stop it? But meantime, if we knock on your car window and you and your girlfriend are just waiting for your dinner reservations to hit, and you got there a little early and you're sitting in the car talking, and we knock on the car window, hey, how are you? What are you doing here? You're going to be like, fuck off, mall cop. That happened every fucking time. But sometimes bad things were happening. So we were trained to see what was going on in cars. And we did have camera rooms. And hey, can you look? Bring up camera 85, Terrace 1, level 4, 2 occupants in a car, Nissan. Cal OP is 6 X-ray Lincoln Paul 753. There it is. Cool. So, more often than not, hey, something is going on in the car. So, our job might be to stop it, but where there was always a pause. Instead of going right up and stopping it, which is what I would recommend legally and morally, we all as a staff would be like, well, let's see what happens. Again, I'm exposing the truth here. I'm not proud of it all. And one night, this young couple was in a car outside of Pacific Theaters. They thought they saw a motion picture. This is probably early 2000s. I don't know, anywhere but here. Natalie Portman. I don't know. They saw that. Some smooching in the movie. They got in the mood. Young love. They're in this like sensible car. Not tinted at all. Middle of the parking lot, but it's like midnight. You could tell it was early. There was a lot of that. Hey, could I? Consensual on both parts here. And zip. Comes on out. Hand goes over. Pinky goes up like it's a sophisticated cup of tea. And it's a sweet moment. He laid his head back, reclined the car seat, hands went behind his head, probably thinking, I'm king of the world. That movie's only like 4 years old. I'm king of the world. And she's like, God, I hope this isn't what I have to do the entire time we're together. And 7 people were watching this. This moment where it's like, sometimes when we touch, the honesty's too much. That was what was going on in that car. And there was 5 security officers and 2 police officers who had just stopped by for like a water break in the substation. And we were all in the cam room watching this. And that's on tape. Now, here's the thing. We were like, all right, let's let it go for a little bit, and then we got to get up there. So we call, hey, dispatch a unit up there. Who's North Mobile? All right, Unit 35, get up there. Here's the car, Pacific Theaters North parking lot. Blah, 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 blah. Knock on the window. Ah! And that tape exists somewhere. That was the life. That was the life I led for 17 years. I'm so glad I'm out of it. I'm so glad I changed. I'm so glad that every once in a while, I don't want to come here to this podcast and do something poignant and purposeful. Sometimes I just want to reminisce on the stupid, dumb things I was a part of. And hopefully, you all get amusement out of my failures in my past. That's it for this week. That's the Blathering. Tell your friends about it. Support me on Patreon if you want. Patreon.com/Ken Napzok. Merch. The Hope shirt is available at the upper tiers. I've got a lot of things going on work-wise, starting this new job, doing some other work, freelance work for Fandom, which I've done before. So it's a busy stretch of time. So bear with me as I get back to some of the Patreon exclusive stuff. We also got to, pray and send some positive thoughts out to our buddy Robbie Smith to recover, get healthy, get back home. Check out the Kickstarter to help get him through this tough time. And one day soon, I believe, Robbie and I will get back to the episode, another episode of our biggest win, because Robbie's going to be able to tell the story of a big win. Let's do it. Let's hope. All right, that's it. That's out. I'm Ken Napzok. You know where to find me. Tell your friends, my friends, that Ken Napzok is not gone. He did not die after Collider. He's here right now telling horrible stories on the Blathering.